I'm Tom, and breaking news, Dana White has been announced as starting a boxing league. What does that mean? What does it mean for boxing? What does it mean for Dana White? All that good stuff. Let's have a quick discussion. A boxing league. I'd imagine it was a very short, brief announcement, but I'd imagine it'll mean something along the lines of the UFC, essentially. What the UFC are doing, that sort of model. Over in boxing, and this is something we've talked about for quite a while. This has been a topic of conversation that's been around the boxing space for quite a long time now. People have said that Dana White might get involved. Turkey wants to start a boxing super league with the best fighters and the best promoters. And that's why we saw him, with the introduction of the undisputed belt. Ultimately what he wants to make is his belt be the best belt in boxing, the only belt kind of in boxing, and that's what everyone wants to go for. That's the prized possession in the sport. And I think that's what we're going to kind of see transitioning now, is Turkey creating this league with Dana White, where everyone wants to compete for his belt. I think that's what we're going to see. Now, what does that mean for boxing? Now, it depends how it goes. I think it can go one of two ways. Either it can tank and go really bad, or can do the opposite and go really well. I think my initial thoughts were Dana White's the right guy for the job because he has got a tried and tested method in the UFC. But he needs to remember, this isn't the UFC, this is boxing. And what we don't want is, I don't want him robbing money off the fighters. I don't want him massively undercutting fighters and not paying them properly. I don't want it being solely based off of the US, because that's what the UFC is, always US time. I mean, even if it's happening in the UK, it's still US time zones or US timings. I don't want that. So I don't want it to become an Americanized show. I don't want fighters getting undercut. But the league system, fighters climbing rankings organically, not based off of who your promoter is, not based off of who you know, but actually, and what organization you're under, but actually organically climbing the rankings, I think is very good for the sport. I also think we will see the best fight the best. You will see number one fight number two. And then that's how you're going to climb the league, number 7 fights number 6, because that's how you climb the league. So we are going to see some of the best start to fight some of the best. My initial questions is, what does it mean for promoters, Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, the likes? Is Turkey trying to phase promoters out of boxing by creating something like a league? And then we might see boxing almost phase out into other leagues. I don't mean leagues like football, where you got the Premier League, Division 1, Championship, Div 1, Div 2. I mean, like the UFC league, where you've got UFC, you got one championship, you got, PFL, you got all that sort of stuff. It might start to phase into there, where you've got whatever league Turkey's creating, you've got, is that TKO league, whatever it is, you've got whatever league Turkey's creating, then you've got the Matchroom league, and then you've got the Queensberry league, and ultimately everyone aspires to be in the Turkey league. I wonder if it means that. Or is he going to try and keep promoters in boxing, working with the fighters, working with the promoters? It's a bit of a grey area there. I think ultimately, I think this is probably a good thing. You'll probably get a lot of the UFC fans coming over now because of the structure. The structure. One of the biggest things boxing had, or rather UFC had, over boxing, is just that we saw the best fight the best. And we knew there was a ranking, this is the ranking, and it was pretty unanimously accepted. Well, now we're going to start to see that in boxing. And I think with that element, that's a very good thing. I think with that side of things, that's a very good thing. And I think with the funding of Turkey and Saudi Arabia, with the backing of things like Ring Magazine, it's coming back to life. It's all coming together. Ring Magazine, Riyadh season, now this boxing league, the money that the Saudis have, the experience and the know-how of Dana White. We're going to start to see things falling into place that perhaps we otherwise wouldn't have seen. AI judges, and boxing might start coming back to life. AI judges getting involved could be good. you know, perhaps a restructuring of the scoring system. I mean, in this own league, where does that end? What does that entail? Can they have their own league system, like scoring system, point system, judging system, and what will that look like? It's quite exciting. I'm intrigued to see how it goes. I'm not going to write it off. I'm not a traditionalist. I don't want to write it off before we've given it a chance. Let's give it a chance. Let's see what he does with it. People, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. I genuinely look forward to reading this. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave a like, a comment, subscribe. You know how YouTube works, people. Peace.